Okay, so what we're going to do now is set up the IK rig. So first, I want you to make sure that you are in pose mode, go to options, and we're going to take a look at this temporary IK constraint. Go ahead and click this. Go ahead and click on this bone, press the 3 key, and now press the G key and just slowly move your mouse. So this will give you an idea of how IK constraints work. Basically, it's an automated rigging system. Okay, so right click to cancel. Now go ahead and uncheck this. Now in order to set up an IK rig, the way it works is that it needs an outside bone, meaning that the bone cannot be the child of the bones that you want to set up the IK on. So what we're going to do over here is first switch to edit mode, go ahead and zoom in, do shift middle mouse button and click on the tail of this bone. Now press the E key and press the Y key and just go ahead and extrude this bone out over here. Click on this bone and press the Y key to sever all the connections. Now go to the bone tab over here. We're going to uncheck a deform. Now this is going to be our touch bone for the foot IK. So go ahead and click this, and here we're going to type in foot dot touch dot ik dot l and enter. Now this bone needs to have a parent. So in order to make the IK work correctly, where the foot can stick to anything, we need to give this bone the root as the parent. So go ahead and go to the bone tab over here and just type in root. Okay, so that's set up. Now in order to set up the IK, we simply have to select on the bone right above it, right? So we're going to click on this bone. Now all you have to do is switch to pose mode. Now over here, go to the bone constraints, and here you're going to see inverse kinematics. Go ahead and click this. So the bone color is going to change to yellow. Now here it's asking you for the target. So the target is going to be this bone, okay? So rather than doing it this way, we're just going to X this out, click on this bone, press the shift key down, click on this one, do shift control C and just do inverse kinematics. It'll just fill it in for you, okay? Now over here is asking you for the chains. Now the way this works is that it basically needs to know how many bones above this bone do you want to use with the IK constraints. So here, if we do a bone chain of 1, it's going to be this bone. Then if we do a bone chain of 2, it's going to be this bone. So now when you click over here on this foot.touch and press the G key, you will see that the leg will start to move. Now it's not going to work correctly out of the box because you have to set up a few additional things. Now because when you press the G key, you can see that the IK really just has a mind of its own. So what Blender does, it gives you the ability to go to the actual bone that has the IK. Now this is something you might want to take a note of because this is easy to forget. You have to open this up. And here we're going to say that we want to lock the rotation of this bone basically on the Y and Z because our dominant axis is the X-axis. So now when you click this and press the G key, you will see that it works a lot better, okay? Now here you can see that it's going to start to flip, and that's fine. This is because it doesn't have a pole target, okay? So we're getting that to work. Now right click to cancel. Now in order for this to not do that, if we go to the constraints here, you can see that it has a pole target, meaning that when you click this and press the G key, where should this bone point to? So it stops it from doing this odd behavior. Now one thing to keep in mind about IKs is that you have to have at least a bit of a curve. So you can see that this is not perfectly vertical and this is not perfectly vertical, right? There's a slight curve, and this is what gives it the ability to by default behave in this way, okay? So anyways, let's go ahead and set up the pole target. So the way we're going to do this is actually go ahead and switch to edit mode, go ahead and click on the head of this bone, press the E key, press the Y key, and here we're just going to pull out a bone like this, click this, press the Y key to sever all the connections, go to the bone tab, uncheck this, and here, this again is going to be a touch bone, so we're just going to call this knee dot touch dot pull dot L and enter. Now here we're going to just zoom out a bit and let's click on this green arrow and just move it right around here. Now click on the tail of this bone, and here we just want to press the R key, press the control key down in here, just going to rotate it by 90. Now here we want to make this bone the child of our touch bone over here. So click on this, press the shift key down, click on this, do control P and do keep offset. Now over here we're going to simply hover our mouse, click in this bone, copy the name, and over here now switch to pose mode, click on this, go to the constraints, and here of course we're going to select the armature and just do control V. Now when you do that, it's going to twist this bone. Okay, this is a default behavior, so we know that we just have to rotate it by 90. Just click over here and type in 90 and enter. Now here you can see that we need to actually do negative 90. So this means that over here we're going to type in negative 90, and now it will point correctly to this bone. So what exactly does this do? This means that we can press the G key and now basically point the knee in any direction. Now when you press the 3 key over here and click this, press the G key, you will see that the leg works correctly, right? It's not flipping like it was before. Now notice that because this bone, its parent is the root, you can of course just move it away from it, right? Only when it collides with it that it starts to give you this behavior. So this is how you set up in IK-Rig. It's actually a pretty straightforward concept. Okay, now here we're just going to right click to cancel this. So on this bone here we're just going to lock the scale over here, and what we want to do is we want to also lock the rotation because we only want the user to move its location. So let's say if we put this leg over here, if we do the middle mouse button, we can click on this and press the G key and point the knee in any direction. Okay, so this means that on this bone we want to lock the scale and of course just lock the rotation, right? That's all we want to do with this. Go ahead and press the 3 key, do A to select everything, and just do Alt R to reset the rotation and the location. Let's go ahead and save this now. Go under File, do Save As. We're going to save this as rigging lesson 03x.blend. Okay, so now that we have this set up, what I want you to do is go ahead and select the foot.touch.ik.l. So on this bone is where we're going to add the driver to switch between IK or FK. So go ahead and go to the bone tab, and over here go to custom properties and add a property, click on edit over here, and here we're just going to say FK / IK, and here just type in leg dot L. Here the property value should be 1, this should be 0, and max should be 1, and just click on OK. Now here when we have this selected, if we go down over here, you should see FKIK leg dot L. So we're going to of course have to set this up for the right leg a little later. So now what we want to do is go ahead and open up the graph editor and go ahead and switch this to drivers. Now make sure that you right click over here and do copy data path. Now go ahead and go to the data tab, and here we're simply just going to press the shift key down and turn on the non-deform layers. Now go ahead and press the 1 key to zoom out a bit. What you want to do is click on this bound, go to the constraints over here, and here you're just going to right click, and over here we're going to do add driver, manually create later. Now go ahead and click this over here, open this up, go to drivers, and here we're simply going to switch this to single property, and over here we're going to switch this to armature, hover a mouse, do control V. Over here I'm just going to change this to average value and do update dependencies. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and zoom in. Now click on this font over here, so you can see that we're selecting the m.shin, so we can just click again to make sure we go to the m.shin.fk.l, meaning where you see these constraints. So here on the IK we're going to do the same thing, right click, do add a driver, and do manually create a later. Go ahead and click this over here, going to switch this to single property. Over here we're going to click on armature, do control V, paste that, do average values, and do update dependencies. Now what we need to do is get to the m.foot.fk.l. Make sure that you're seeing these constraints for the IK. Right click, do add a driver, manually create later. Go ahead and click this, switch this to single property, armature. Here, do control V. We're just going to do average values and do update dependencies. And lastly, let's click on this toe bone. Keep clicking it until you get to m.toe.fk.l. Make sure you're seeing the right constraints over here. Right click, do add a driver, manually create a later. Click on this. Go ahead and switch this to single property. Over here, armature. Do control V. Over here, change this to average value and just do update dependencies. Now we can go ahead and close this. Okay, so now go ahead and press the 3 key and click on this bell. Okay, so now when you press the G key, here is the IK. We're going to put this over here. Okay, now when we take this to 0, the leg is going to snap back to the FK. Right, so this means that if we go to the data tab, press the shift key down and turn on the touch bounds. So here we can click, press the R key, rotate this bone using the touch bounds that we set up. Right, so here you can see that we can use the FK leg rig over here, and if we want to switch to IK, we can simply click on this bone and turn this to a value of 1. So here the foot can switch between these two rigs, right? So you have to decide which one you want to use. Now just remember that when you are on FK, if we click on the hip.touch.root and press the G key, you will notice that the IK leg internally basically always points to the foot IK touch bell. That's just how it works internally. Okay, so here we can right click. Now if you go ahead and click this and turn this on to a value of 1, now click over here and press the G key, you will notice that the foot sticks to that bell, right? We haven't created the foot rig for the IK, so this is why it's behaving this way, but this will give you an idea to the power of IK rigs, right? Anyways, go ahead and press the A key to select everything, do Alt R and G to reset the rotation and location. Okay, now go ahead and click on this, and let's go ahead and actually leave this at a value of 1, so we have the IK working. And what we're going to do is go ahead and switch over just to the IK layer. Let's go ahead and now do a file and save. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.